call, please hang up and try again.
Hey, I'm Madeline Butini, the host of 1-800-Madbutt. I'm a visual artist from Australia on a conversational journey to call up and talk with the best artists, entrepreneurs, and visionaries of our time. Join myself and my guests as we unravel the stories behind their breathtaking creations and groundbreaking businesses. Make sure to check out our Instagram for extra show notes. You can view it at 1-800-Madbutt. All right, cool. Let's get into it. Hey, Gus, how you going?
Great. Thanks, Maddie. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast, 1-800-Madbutt, to talk to me about your art. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. So let's just jump straight into it. So this is a question that I ask everybody, and it's tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, my name is Gus Eagleton, and I am an artist based in Brisbane, and my practice solely revolves around, I guess, street art and large-scale painting. I would say that I would do fine art work, so canvas work, exhibition work, but these days my sole focus is mainly murals and large-scale stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're like all over Brisbane. Like
I've been doing it for a while, so I got quite a few pieces around Brisbane, which is nice.
Yeah, you know near Gomer and Quag, how there's that train line, and it's got like Guido, Finton, and for ages I was trying to figure out who the chick is holding the flower. And I was walking past it one day and I was like, oh, it's Gus.
That's me, the girl on the wall.
I was like, oh my gosh. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got into becoming an artist?
Well, I guess like most artists, you're dabbling when you're a kid in school, sketching, cartoons, all of that. I had a general interest, but probably I'd say my interest kind of sparked from, the fine art world, like the Archibald Prize. I grew up in Coffs Harbour, so there's not a huge amount of art and like creative stuff, although it does exist. But one thing that was good about Coffs Harbour is that the Archibald Prize would visit there like every year. So my mum was also a big fan of the Archibald Prize and fine art, and she's dabbled around with that. So she would take me to those sort of things when I was pretty young, and it kind of got me into it. And it's just always been something that I've dabbled with until like high school, when I decided to take it a bit more serious and try and actually learn a few things and make a practice. And it's just kind of been a steady thing that I've been doing up until now, pretty much.
Yeah, nice. Did you go to like art school or anything?
Yeah, so I moved to Brisbane from Coffs Harbour in 2009, and then I did a bit of TAFE, and I was there at like a really good time with a lot of great artists, street artists, some graffiti artists, and fine artists. And then did a couple of years at TAFE, which was pretty good because TAFE, I guess, was a bit more hands-on. So they teach you a bit of everything, a bit of sculpture, a bit of painting, more like technical based. And then went on to do university after that at Griffith University, Queensland College of Art, which is what it used to be called, but I think it's different now. And then, did a couple more years there and got a bit more conceptual with it. I've had a lot of great painting teachers who were like very technique and, pigments, this and different brushes and just real specific, traditional painting techniques, which kind of helps form the basis of what I do in murals. So that was great. And then, through studying both those places, I met other people who had a similar interest in large-scale painting, and eventually realized that it could be something that I could pursue a bit more professionally, and continue to, go from one opportunity to the next, and make my own opportunities, and then eventually full-time career.
Yeah, sick. Love it. Like legitimately. I was thinking about how you're saying your mum would take you to go see the Archibald Prize. It's so cute.
Super cute. Yeah. Usually, like,
So
follow it every year, see what's happening and who wins. And my mum would always go and check it out when it tours around and goes to Crofts.
yeah,
I always got a lot of great artworks, and which I feel are usually pretty traditional based, although it's getting a bit more conceptual these days. But just very very solid work.
yeah. Well, did you have any favorite artworks that you saw growing up that you can remember?
I mean, I kind of had a lot of Australian influence, so I liked a lot of the greats. Brett Whiteley was always a big favorite with a lot of people. Sidney Nolan, and a lot of those kind of artists that kind of took traditional methods and tweaked them and made them a bit surreal, a bit abstract, a bit different. More ideas based, I think, but still coming from like oil painting, traditional mediums. So they were definitely my fan favorites.
Yeah, cute. I love it. Very Australian.
Yeah.
um, so you said that you got into, like, I'm just going to call it mural painting because that's what I've written in my questions, but you got into
Yeah,
large scale painting at TAFE. At QCA. How exactly was that process? Like, was it like you saw something online or you saw it on the street and you're just like how did that happen about that you were just like, okay, this is what I like. This is what I'm going to do.
yeah. I mean, because I'm from Coffs Harbour, I didn't really know anything about graffiti or street art or large scale painting, even murals. Like there was not a. I mean, there's a few bits and pieces around, but Coffs Harbour, but nothing much. But when I moved to Brisbane, I definitely noticed, the graffiti on the train lines and on, around the city, as well as like the street art stuff that was kind of happening. And when I first saw it in the early days of living here, I just had no idea how people did it. Like I saw, people that painted trains, because I catch a train every day to go to uni or TAFE, and trains would roll in with big graffiti pieces and characters and like full color stuff that takes a bit of time and a bit of like effort. And at the time, I was like, "How?" I was like, "What is this? I don't get it. Like, is this something that the train company is doing, or is this like, are they paying people to do this? Like, I don't." It's like, how are they even? And then I was like, if it's illegal, how the hell are they even doing it? Like, but I had no idea about like spray paint or anything like that, or how to use it, or what it could do, or what the sky's the limit with that sort of stuff. So from that point, like, they definitely had a really big interest in learning. So I, met people who were into it, and kind of I'd get a little bit of information off them, and then maybe I'd try some stuff in my own time. I'd go to like the graffiti shops, and like I'd buy, one can of every brand and like one cap of every type, and I just play around, try different things, see what was different, what felt good, what worked, what didn't work, what paints did this, what paints did that. Just kind of like, teach myself how to do it. And I just, took the initiative to like find walls, go to abandoned spaces, or like do late night track sides, go down, after the trains have stopped, and just find a wall or whatever and just have a go. And like I would do like the wackest, craziest stuff. Just like I had no idea. It looked terrible, absolutely terrible. But each piece that I did, I would learn a little bit of something, and then I would use it for the next one, and then I'd learn a little bit of something, and I'd be on like YouTube looking at iron like videos and graffiti and street art videos, and I'd see what they're doing, and maybe I'll get an idea of how I could do this or how I could do that, and then just really nerd out on paint and just try and figure out how people are doing things. There's so many different things you can do with aerosol. It's just and it when you watch someone do it on a video or in real life, it just looks so easy. But when you
Yeah.
try and do it yourself, you just like, or like, especially, for me, like when I picked it up at the start, I was just like, I don't get it. Like, it's not translating. But, practice, knowledge, research, and then eventually you learn how to use it and, reach the art form's max potential and, try and get the best out of it. And so, I mean, I guess I started with graffiti and then merged that into my art practice and tried to like make art, street art with those techniques. And, I tried a lot of different stuff, brush stuff, aerosol stuff, all sorts of different stuff, but, practice. And then eventually you figure it out and you get there in the end.
Yeah. I love that. The whole time I've been thinking to myself, have you ever tried like an airbrush machine on like canvas?
No, but I
reckon you'd be pretty good at it.
It's something I just haven't really gotten into just yet, but I've actually got a couple of big canvases coming up, and I was actually going to buy one and use it. Prior to that, like I just always use spray paint and just do what I can, even if it's stylized slightly different on a smaller scale. I kind of didn't mind, but there's definitely some stuff you can do with that airbrush, which really looks great on a canvas, especially.
Yeah, that's epic. Did you ever get in trouble with the police doing graffiti?
I've had some trouble, yeah.
Thought I'd just ask. Yeah, I won't ask you any more questions. So,
long story.
Yeah, it's been a bit cheeky. Yeah, no, I think it's so funny. So I obviously had been around a lot of people that did graffiti and like spray painting when I was like younger, and had been in like open spaces with them while they was doing spray paint. And last year I was playing with spray paint in my studio, and it's like a small little space, and I got like these like low fumes like paints, and then I got like a Montana paint because I wanted this one color, and I sprayed the Montana paint in my studio, and I literally like dusted myself. And like my boyfriend came into the room because it was all throughout my apartment, and he was like, man, that is so strong. Like he was like, you need to get out of this room, because he's like an engineer, and he's like, you're not gonna like you need to get out. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, and now there's just like this residue of like pink dust like all over the walls and shit.
It gets away from you. But now these days, like, because I've used spray paint so much, I can't really smell it too much. Like, I can definitely smell it, but like, for instance, I have a van and I always have paint and stuff in the back. So when I jump in, like, might smell a bit weird, but like I can't really smell the spray paint. But if I jump in with a friend, my friend's like, whoa, what the hell? Stinks in there. Yeah. So I can't really smell it. So it's not a very good sign.
No. No. But like we were looking at masks at Bunnings and they're like $70. And I was like, dude, like I'm just gonna buy a fan and put it at the door and it will be my ventilation.
Yeah. Definitely I try and
oh my god.
Safety first. Good mask is always good. Use even gloves, like if it gets in your hands. One time I was like painting with no glove and probably painted like all day, no glove. And like one of the cans was probably busted on the valve a little bit. So a lot of paint was like spraying on my finger. By the end of the day, my finger was numb and it couldn't feel it. And I washed it off and everything. And I was like, fine. But my finger stayed numb for like a couple of days.
Did you go to the doctor?
No, I didn't. But it came good.
Yeah, okay. I would have been freaking out.
I definitely like, because I could feel the paint and feel the burn from the paint. I was like, it's definitely the paint. But then eventually it went away. I was like, all right, sweet. And then from then I was like, gotta wear gloves.
Gus. Oh my God. Okay, so
But
what did you get?
realistically, like some, I don't know, like a few other artists like Adnate and people, or even like Star, realistically, if you want to be protected from aerosol, you got to wear one of those like Breaking Bad masks with the
Yeah,
with the cover, because like any kind of fume or aerosol, if it gets into your eyes, like that's worse than anything. Like it's worse than breathing it in. It's worse than like going into your skin. Like it goes like straight into your eyes. Like it's not good. So yeah.
true.
Mm.
Okay. Hazmat suit with the full face
But like
mask.
that's not like realistic in Australia. You got that giant hazmat suit on. It's like Breaking Bad in the desert. Like you're sweating bullets. Like you can't see anything. Like it's hot as hell. Like you never get anything done.
Yeah, but I'm sure that they've made like cans safer than they used to be.
For sure. Like I mean, they had
I mean,
the old school
wait,
ones when
you're rolling around in your car, right, with like heaps of like cans in the back. I remember
yeah
when I had some like little cans that like Scotty gave me,
yeah
like those little baby iron lights that were going around, and my
yeah.
dad saw them in my car and he was like, "Your car's gonna explode." Rah, rah, rah. Like, don't you ever worry about your car exploding?
Well, I've never had one explode in the back. Explode in the back. I've been pretty lucky. I've had a couple of close calls. Like I definitely think, because I do a bit of paint mixing cans together, and if the pressure is a little bit higher than what it usually is, like if the can is full or it's a little bit over full, then if it's like really hot day, like 35-degree day, then you got a pretty good risk of it exploding. But if it's below full or normal full and it's like one of the new age brands, like you're pretty sweet, unless it's got a dodgy valve. But or like I've had friends who've had cans like in the back, like say they drive around in a Camry and the can is sitting in the back window, where it's just like a little compartment that captures the sun almost. It like gets so hot in there, like cans explode in there like all the time. It's just too hot.
True.
Mm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe my dad was onto something. I was like,
For
no, this
sure.
isn't going to explode. Like, what is going to happen? And they were like sitting underneath my seat for like years after that.
I just went. I've never had one explode in my car.
Oh God. No, it's just like I would just expect that to happen to me. Um, so tell us about your creative process. What's that like when you're
So,
doing large scale work?
because I work in like the public space, usually doing commissioned work for different companies or private clients or councils. Um, Usually there'll be like some kind of brief or some kind of like, we're going to make this mural because we want to do this or something. So usually I'll have kind of somewhere to start, even though I prefer not to have anything. Um, so then I would take those notes and do maybe a bit of research on the area or the topic or the historical stuff that they want. Come up with some kind of idea. Like I usually like to come up with something in my mind before I try and create that. And I then organize some photo shoots with people, usually people that I know or people that I've met or people that I think would be good. I don't usually shoot models or anything like that unless it's a rare situation. I then do some photo shoots. Go to different locations. I could shoot a bunch of different stuff. It could be like scenery stuff in one place. It could be like indoor stuff with people in another place. Could be multiple different shoots in different places, and then going through all of that content, I select stuff and then I merge it together. So my work, I guess, is realistic in a sense, like portrays people, place, and it's. I mean, my more recent stuff, less realistic, specific, I should say. But in the past, like you could look at a painting and it would look just like a place, just like a person in that place. But the reality is, like, the artwork is made up of a lot of different images, a lot of different things make that image. And if it was to be put into reality, it wouldn't actually translate. It wouldn't like make sense. But it does in the painting for some reason. So yeah, and then I would pitch maybe a couple of ideas to the client, and then usually they will give me feedback, which I'd never enjoy, and then maybe make a few changes, and then go from there. Ideally, like, yeah, I would prefer to just have a project, no brief. I can come up with my own ideas, my own artwork, pitch that, or just do that, and then like that's usually going to be the best outcome. Like I can then, do my best work rather than trying to, develop something that someone else is thinking about. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty tricky.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's always difficult when someone's like, I have this idea of this thing, and then you make it, and they're like, not really that. And it's like, fuck, man, can't read your mind.
Well, that's it. It's like, art's like so subjective, and I'm just trying to pitch or like portray my artistic practice as my art. If you want to get an artwork from me, that's great, love that. But like, maybe don't come to me and like pitch your artwork. You can make your own artwork. I'll make my artworks.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I mean, creative people generally have pretty great ideas.
Yeah, well, it's like I can't imagine. I mean, and there's also different classes of artists. So like, if you were to like get a real famous artist, could you imagine going up to like, Brett Whiteley and just be like, oh, can you do this, this, and this? Oh no, it needs to look more like this. It's like that would never happen. I feel like it wouldn't anyway. But like when people work with me or whatever, it's like, they got to put in their opinion. It's like, okay, well then I'll try and make you happy. But then what about these people over here? They're gonna have a different opinion because like art's subjective. So it's like, I'm making an artwork for everyone, not just you. Right?
Yeah.
So it gets tricky.
So why did you say you don't like feedback? I love feedback personally. Why don't you like feedback?
Well, because it's always ridiculous. That's why. It's like, oh, I love the girl, but like her hat, I don't like the hat. It's like, it's not your hat. Who cares about the hat, bro? It's like the girl is wearing the hat because she likes the hat. It's her hat. Like, or it'd just be silly stuff, It's like stuff that doesn't even make sense, You could do a perfect artwork for a brief, like it ticks all the boxes, has this historical thing, has this like time and place, has these kinds of people, blah 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 blah. But then they're like, oh, like I think we need to put like a donkey in there, like put a donkey in there. It's like it doesn't even make sense. Like,
yeah, okay.
Especially because half the time people that are given feedback, like they're not creative people. They don't know how to make a painting. They're like working in some other industry. They're probably really good at that. But like, how about you let me do what I'm good at?
Okay, I understand you better now. You don't like adjusting feedback. You like nonsense you don't like nonsense feedback, which I agree.
Yeah.
I don't like nonsense feedback either. I like adjusting feedback where it's like, this is great, but like that needs to be like, I guess in collage terms, it's like that needs to be moved over to put something else in, I like that kind of feedback. But it sounds like you get people that just nitpick.
Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's like we could be on like a tight schedule on both sides, like my schedule and their schedule. And it's like, okay, we need to do this project at this time. And then like I'll pitch them the designs. And then they like screw around for a bit. And then they come back to me with like all this like ridiculous feedback. It's like, is this feedback really worth both of us missing these deadlines? No, it's not. Just let me do the artwork. But I've had some good feedback too. Like, sometimes I pitch, sometimes I come up with ideas or whatever on my own, and then I think it's really good or whatever. But then someone might be like, oh, you know what? This could really take this artwork to the next level, and that has happened. And then I'll be like, you're right. Like I'll change this, and then like that actually adds way more depth, gives it a bit more context, and it makes a bit more sense. But that's not that often.
Okay, amazing. So you're happy for collaboration?
Collaboration's great.
Of course. Yeah, cool. So then talking about challenges. So what happens when you have unpredictable weather or other things like externally that happen? Like, for instance, say that like the permit was meant to be approved and it wasn't, and all that other stuff. How do you handle that?
Well, it's just like the job is just so unbelievably difficult. It's like from start to finish, the job is hard. And then you got to add into the mix weather, machine faults, machines breaking down for a couple of days. So it's like it makes it very hard to keep on time with your schedule, meet all of the deadlines, make everybody happy. It also makes it very hard to make a really good profit when if you've got 2 months worth of work booked out and you've got a little bit of like wiggle room here or there in case something happens, but then you have like 2 weeks of rain, like that literally just jams up your schedule for like 3 months and you're working like double time trying to get everything done. It's just like you can't win. It's such a tough industry to work in.
Yeah, that reminds me of, it was a Brisbane Street Art Festival last year where it rained for like 3 weeks straight. Yeah,
That's tough. That's really tough.
yeah, and I felt really sorry for everybody. I was like, man, like I
Yeah,
hope
because
you get their stuff done.
you get a bunch of artists to fly in from all over, and then you got a certain amount of time to get the work done because you can't pay for everybody to stay at that place forever. And then like you have rain, is like that's tough.
Yeah, wild. What's
But
the
that is it.
tallest? Yeah, what's the tallest you've ever done? Like on a machine, on a, what are they called? A cherry picker.
Cherry picker or boom lift. Tallest one I've done is about 35 meters tall, I think. It's about 8 stories ish, 8 or 9.
Was that the one at the Gabba?
Gabba. No, I did one in Maroochydore, and then one in Beanley. They're about the same size. About about the same size roughly. So one is slightly wider. Yeah.
Hectic. Do you ever get scared of heights?
No, I don't mind. I don't mind heights at all. Heights don't faze me. And I've had some scary stuff happen.
Like what?
Like on that tall one, the 35-meter one, to reach the very top of the wall, the boom lift had to extend like all the way. So there's about maybe 4 different jibs or arms within the machine that can extend and do different things. So one lifts out, one goes up, and then one extends. And you have to have all of those sections of the machine fully extended. So like I was at the top and it was kind of getting close to the end of the project on a bit of a tight schedule as per usual. And then, when it's fully extended, like the pressure or something in the machine just kind of slipped a bit. So the basket, which I am standing in, like dropped maybe like 5 meters sort of thing, like, and then just bounce. And then like the top bit wouldn't operate again from that. So basically it dropped and then I couldn't do anything more above that height. And but that was like pretty much the end of the project. So I just went down and then like that was it. But that's pretty scary. But
Yeah,
it didn't bother me too much. I was like, oh, I should be right.
yeah, you're like rationally thinking about it like this is just a safety feature, I guess. Like
yeah, just like, if I go now, then like say la vie.
oh my god, my like heart just like dropped when you said that. When you said the pressure, and then I was like, no, that would have been the end of my career, honestly. No,
I mean, I
I'm
had a
so
harness
sorry.
and stuff on, so
I know,
but
but
it's still
still,
scary. Yeah.
5 meters is like a long way to drop, and especially when there's like no roof on it, so you're basically just like free falling as well, kind of a little bit. Yeah. Oh my god. Whatever.
But those harnesses aren't even really, they kind of help you to some degree. Like if you fall out of the basket, the harness pulls the cord, and it gives you about 5 meters of like it takes the jolt from the rope. But once you're dangling at the bottom, you've only got like 15 minutes, 20 minutes before the harness actually like cuts off your circulation in your main arteries in your legs. And if you're sitting there for like an hour in the harness and it's cutting off the circulation, and then they get you down, all the blood is like clotting in your legs. So when they take the harness off, all the clots go through your body. So it's not ideal. It's pretty dangerous.
Are you getting paid well for doing these things? Because it sounds
Not
like
enough, man. Not enough.
Jesus. Dude, all I have to worry about is if like I'll cut myself with a fucking Exacto. That sounds hectic. I'm sorry, Gus. I'm so glad I don't have your job. Because I do not like heights. So, have you ever collaborated with any other artists on any murals?
Oh yeah, heaps. A lot of great artists. I like to collaborate usually with friends or artists that I know or have known for a while. Usually just because it's fun. Sometimes it can take the pressure off a bit. Rather than like go into a wall for a week on your own, you can have someone there to hang out and bounce ideas off, maybe get some inspiration, and then hopefully by the end of the artwork you've got a new piece which is a bit which is new. It's like a new idea. It's a good way to push the boundaries a bit and maybe like get out of your comfort zone a little bit. And it's just fun. I enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any memorable artists that you've done a collab with?
Heaps. I've been fortunate enough to like collaborate with some really great artists and really good graffiti writers, and some really good like street artists, like international street artists. And I mean, yeah, that piece I did in Bean Lee with, that was a piece with Finton McGee, who's a really great artist, and been lucky to paint with Soffels, and I've been lucky to paint and help Guido Van Helton. And just last year, I did quite a bit of traveling, and I caught up with my friend T. Love Me from Indonesia, and I've known him for a long time, and we've done a few different festivals and projects that are kind of side by side, but we have never really done a collaboration. So we actually did one over a couple of days in Indo, and it just turned out really good. And everyone really got behind it because they're they know both of our works, and big fans of the previous work that we had done in those areas. So when we merged the two practices together, it was just like, yeah, it's really, everyone was really stoked. And then same with my my other friend Kenji Chai, who is from Malaysia. But actually he and I have actually done 4 or 5 collabs now. But like somehow each collab is in a new country. So we've done one in Indo, Malaysia, like China, Australia, and like one other country.
Yeah, nice. Did you do Hong Kong walls?
I did.
Yeah.
I did it twice, maybe I think once in 2017 and then once in like 18 or 19, I think. It's real fun.
Yeah, nice. Is that when you reference China? Is that the collab that you did?
No, that was like in Shanghai or something. Shanghai, I think, just separate thing. Yeah.
Hectic. That's so crazy. Yeah, I've seen you've been in Asia a lot lately. That's so much fun.
Yeah, it's been good. Been traveling with some friends and just doing like even just graffiti festivals, and
Mm.
this is like relatively close to Australia, and you can get some pretty cheap flights if you're lucky, and it's always a good time. So I've been trying to get out there as much as possible.
Yeah. And I was really jealous when you went to Indonesia because like the people out there are just so nice.
So nice, yeah, really nice. Same with Malaysia. Malaysia was really fun, and everybody's just like really friendly, and they look after you, and the food's amazing, and
Yeah.
it's still like, yeah, it's not far.
Yeah. So what tools and techniques do you find essential in your process?
I mean, camera is probably pretty important. I usually work from imagery, so without that, I'd be doing something else probably. And then also Photoshop, um, and then in terms of paint, these days I use a lot of brush, a lot of roller paint, and then just a bit of spray paint for highlights, shadows, maybe some details, or like little bits of blurry stuff. Or I try and use brush and spray to get the best of both worlds. And then a few other things. I tend to use a lot of like um, tradey kind of tools. Like I use like string lines and levels and builder's crayons and chalk and um, tape measures and all sorts of weird stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so a creative tradie.
Yeah. I always just try and keep an open mind, and like if an idea comes to me, it's like maybe this tool could help me do this, or this tool might allow me to do this, and I'll give it a try. And some of those things are just stuck.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm still thinking about this cherry picker thing. At what height do you have to then start using one of those things?
What things?
The cherry
Cherry
picker.
picker?
Yeah.
It really depends on the wall. I mean, cherry picker you more so are using if it's a wall that doesn't have like a flat base at the bottom and you need to reach over something. Ideally, like if you've got a nice flat ground underneath the wall, scissor lifts is going to be better because you've got more space. You can get a scissor lift to go to 12 meters or maybe a little bit more with a really big one. And that's I would probably prefer that because also it's a bit cheaper than a boom lift. And then you got it doesn't use as much power too, or diesel.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes like boom lifts, you kind of have to sometimes like for instance that Maroochydore wall, the wall was kind of above one level of like businesses and some car parks. So I had to like reach over everything to get to the wall. Plus, it was very high. So I'd say, yeah, probably after about 15 meters or so, you probably definitely need a boom lift or some kind of like swing stage abseiling type thing if you're going higher than that. 35 meters, I think, is nearly the maximum you can go with the cherry pickers, unless you get maybe a real specialty one like Guido Van Helten, who's done some really massive silos and really massive towers. He's had some like really, really big cherry pickers. But once you get that high, it's like, I wonder if it's even worth it, because by the time you stretch all the way up, sometimes on that big one, like it could take me 10 meters to get to the 10 minutes to get to the top by the time you fully extend. And then like all the power, and then if you have a little bit of wind, you're kind of swaying a bit up there, and it's just like you don't have much room for your paint and stuff. So it just gets a bit logistically complicated, but usually that's the main option for something like that. But there are better ones.
Yeah, okay, cool. So keep it under 15 meters. You don't want to use one of those things.
Pretty much.
Sorry, I'm just yeah. It's like Bear Grylls over here doing art. So crazy. So is there any specific mural that holds a special significance to you and why?
Um, there's a lot. A lot has really. I mean, there's been a few key pieces that have really helped push my art career throughout the last 10 years. I mean, for instance, that piece were talking about earlier underneath the train line um, down near like West End, South Brisbane. Um, that piece was for this project called the Pillars Project, and it was like all these pylons underneath there with different artworks, like you said, and that was probably my first like. I mean, I'd done other walls and stuff, but that was my first really public, good sized wall in a good location. And it was kind of that project was maybe one of the first of its kind in Brisbane, like in terms of just art on a wall, no, hidden agendas or no briefs or anything. It was just art, make the place look good, do your work. So that one in particular is definitely one that a lot of people reference, like yourself. It's a standout spot that a lot of people will see. But then again, like my Maroochydore piece too, that was, at that time, the biggest thing that I'd done. And it was just like, once you do something like that in a suburb like that, it's kind of like one of the biggest buildings in that suburb. So everyone in Maroochydore knows the piece or is, as far as I can tell, a fan of the piece. There's probably some haters, but you get that. But that in itself is just like, Sunshine Coast is like, oh, have you seen that piece in Maroochydore? And then that really helps. And then even having those pieces for other people to refer to, just like, okay, this artist is pretty capable. He can get the job done. He'll do something good. And then that, opened up doors for me to continue to make large scale works,
Wild. I would like at this point I would never think to myself, oh, can Gus do the job? You know what I mean? Like
well, you'd be surprised, man. That could be is like 10 years with like you pull up the Instagram and the website, like so many pieces, like a million pieces on there, large scale, and people would still question whether you're capable to do it.
that's wild to me. No, like honestly. And because I always see you, I go to the Milton markets on Sundays. So I see the piece that you did in Milton, near Bunker. I don't know. It's on the corner near the train line.
Yep.
Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always see that and I'm always just like, oh my God, Gus is so fucking good. Like, and then I see you post online and I'm like, wow, his stuff is just so amazing. Like, honestly, dude, painting is fucking hard and spray paint is really hard.
It's hard, man. So hard. You got
Like,
there's so many things that are like try almost like hinder you in from doing like a really good artwork, and like each one it almost kills me trying to get it like the way I want it, like and get it done.
no, I love it. I love all your stuff. I think it's so good. Sorry, I feel like I'm like, giving heaps of praise right now, but I think you actually need it because it's incredibly difficult. And I see the size and the scale of it. And it's so funny whenever I'm driving around Brisbane with my boyfriend, I'm always like, oh, it's Gus. I'm like, it's Gus. It's Gus. Or like if with my mum and stuff, I'm like, is that cool? My mum's really into art and she'll always be like, she lives in South Brisbane and she'll be like, wow, like,
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So
nice.
you're spreading heaps of joy into the community, which I think is really great. And I've definitely, when I've been at the Milton market, seen people look at that mural in the corner and then be like, well, that's epic. I think it's too like the little details that you put in as well, which are nice.
Yeah.
Because there's some, like, I think all large scale paintings like fantastic, but it's the ones where there's like the little details in it that you're like, you have to look at it, got to soak it in.
Yeah, definitely.
It's epic. So how has your style or approach to mural painting evolved over the course of your career?
It's evolved heaps. I mean, like I was saying earlier, I kind of taught myself to do a lot of different things. And, starting at the start, I had a basic knowledge of aerosol, and then, work up to getting that down. And then you learn how to use spray guns and big airless sprayers. And then, you know, then at one point it's like I'm doing everything in aerosol, but then at one point I'll do everything in brush, and then I'll try and do aerosol and brush. And then like even aerosol these days, like I would use it completely different to how I did back then. Like now I just use a lot of brush when I have the time and when I can and the budget and everything, just to like fill out, get like a lot of texture, a lot of depth with the brush, a lot of the nice, buff paint colors and the exterior colors. Like they just look so much nicer than the spray paint in general, and they also last longer. They're also, you get a lot more out of 4 liters of buff paint than you do spray paint. So I'll do a lot of brush work, a lot of roller work, and then I'll come back through with some spray, and I'll do some fades maybe, or some little details, or some highlights and shines with the fades, or just use, depending on the wall, just like highlights and low lights, and not any major poppy colors in the spray, because the spray paint fades the quickest. So yeah, it's evolved a lot, and like, there's always something new to learn. Like I was saying, I'll probably dabble into the little air spray, air guns, and even just in this day and age with the technology and stuff, like there's always something on Instagram that pops up where it's like a sprayer. It's like you can do your edges with this little rolly doobie thing, and I'll give it a
Yeah.
go, see what happens.
I swear that's like the only time when like advertising actually does its best is when you see something you actually need and you're like,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, and when I was working on that last job at the airport, there's this tape brand, or like painting tape brand called, I think it's called iQuip or something. But it's like this tape brand that does a lot of different painting utensils and stuff, and they make like really good tape, and you can't really get it everywhere. It's not like a known thing. Only a few places sell it because it's like a local kind of, might even be a Melbourne brand, but it's really good tape. Like it's cheap. It's like $6 a roll, and it has the same qualities as like painter's tape. Because some of those painter's tape is expensive. It's like $30 a roll.
Froggy tape. Yeah, froggy tape is really expensive.
Yeah, that froggy tape is $30 a roll. But this iGrip tape is like $6 a roll, and it's the same stuff, if not better. So I use that a lot. And then the rep guy came down and he was like talking to me, showing me all the new stuff that they do, and it's like a Australian brand. I was like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, sick. Yeah, promo code Gus 20%. No, joking.
Trying to get the sponsorship. I was like, bro, you want to sponsor me?
Yeah.
Oh, you're like, we can't, man. Like, it wouldn't be fair to the retailers. I was like, sure, mate.
Influencer marketing, it's where it's at. Like I can tell you right now.
But then he was like, oh, can I chuck up a story? You want to do a little like?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, all right, if you want, man.
Did they give you some free tape at least?
No free tape, unfortunately.
Oh, bummer. Oh well. Maybe next time.
Next
Maybe
time.
they'll listen to this and be like, fuck, gotta give them some tape. So what would your advice be to aspiring artists who want to do large scale works?
I think like if that's something that you're interested in, it's probably best just to I mean, like me, or like a lot of people, just really try and take initiative, get your own walls, learn new techniques, try out large scale stuff, see what works, see what doesn't work. Approach, it takes a lot of guts or whatever to get out there and do it, but approach people, try and get walls. And then, I mean, that's just like one side of it. But the other side is like develop your own art practice. Come up with your own ideas, try out concepts, try out bits and things, find your groove in that sense before you start like getting amongst it, trying to do jobs and like doing all this stuff. Because before you know it, like I was saying before, is like if you're just trying to do briefs, you end up just working on so many different things, so many different styles, and then you don't have a voice of your own that really attracts customers to your work. And in order to get your work into like the projects that you really want to do, or like the projects that most people will want to do, like the good paying ones, the nice walls, those walls, I mean, not every time, but like most of the time, those walls are going to go to the people with their own voice and with their own unique artworks and style, and with those people that attract that interest. If you're doing a bit of everything, it really waters down what you should be trying to do. And there's nothing wrong with trying to do a little bit of everything. I've done a little bit of everything, but it's better to try and focus on art, focus on the work, focus on the concepts, and just try and do the best work you can. And that doesn't matter what level you're at. You could be small, you work your way up. It could be big. Just to focus on the art, I guess, is my main point.
Yeah, make a style first, and then maybe after a while you can change your style.
Yeah,
you don't always
styles
have
change.
to.
Styles change. But I just think there's a lot of people that are just, you get caught up trying to make the money or do the thing, and like you lose track of actually making your own thing, and then eventually that's not sustainable.
Yeah. Or you just, yeah. I have this real like annoyance with people who try to be like Basquiat. Like I just hate it. Do you know what I mean?
In the street art thing, it's just like half the people that will like come and pitch a job, like they just Google street art or whatever, and they pull some pictures off Pinterest, and it's like, we want some street art, and it's like, you got the girl with the colorful hair coming out, and like you got like the classic street art motifs, which can be found like everywhere. Like there's always one person that will do that thing in your city. It's just like, need some new ideas, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, be creative. If you're looking
Creative.
at doing it,
that's what we're doing.
You're an artist, you're creative, use your brain. Don't be lazy and just copy someone else's style because it's been successful before.
Yeah, no, I mean, everyone starts somewhere, and like it might take you a while to get to your style. Like there's no right or wrong, but everyone should be trying to make their best art, not just bit of this, bit of that, bit of this, bit of that, because you feel like it.
Definitely. So what are some specific resources or experiences you found particularly helpful in your artistic journey? You've already mentioned like YouTube, doing that, playing around, and just like testing things out. What are some other things that people can use or do?
Yeah, I mean, YouTube, but there's a lot on YouTube these days. Like you can find everything there. But I would just say more like real world experience in particular. Like I come from a fine art background, so I would suggest, going to, galleries, going to, Goma for Brisbane people, Queensland, what is it? The Gallery of Modern Art or whatever. Quag.
Queensland Art Gallery.
Queensland Art Gallery. Yeah. And just checking out, paintings and like how people, and just, or stay curious, look at the paintings, how do people do the thing they're doing. If you don't know how, or you can't figure it out, maybe do some research, get some books, like ask some people, like find artists, make friends with people who are making art, see how they do their thing, go to shows, meet the artists, see what the work's about. Right? You just got to be curious. And for my work, for me to come up with ideas, like I'm just trying to keep an open mind whenever I'm just, doing my thing. Like if I go out for lunch or whatever, and I see something that inspires me or whatever, I'll take note of it. Maybe take a photo. Maybe that might not lead to anything, but maybe it'll lead to something or a really nice painting. You never know. But if you don't do that, and then something happens, and like you've got a wall or a project, and you've got no ideas, and you've got a deadline, like it can be hard to come up with an idea under pressure. So it's good to keep the ideas like flowing, like come up with stuff whenever you can.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll have like a dream about something that I should make, and I'll wake up and I'll write it down. How weird
Me
is
too.
that?
Me too.
You
But
do
it's
it
like
too?
if you don't write it down, like that's gone.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I always thought I was weird because like anybody else I'd said to that, they'd like, man, you have such wild dreams. But it's cool that you do it too. So it makes me happy, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I try and be good with that sort of stuff. Sometimes I forget, but I'll like, if I come up with an interesting concept or a title or some kind of color idea or some kind of like technique idea or even imagery or even a person, if like, oh, this person would be really good to paint. I think that would, and I'd already start to be coming up with, oh, maybe I could shoot this here or shoot this there. I just like jot that down, write it down, and then life's pretty busy. You might not do it straight away, but then when that time comes and you need an idea, look at that thing, bam.
Love it. The best. So this is my last question for you guys. So what is coming up for you in 2024?
2024, I think it's going to be a really good year for everyone. I believe and hope. But this year I'm going to do some nice big projects. My next big project I'm heading down to Bendigo to paint a large wall. I'm going to do a lot more traveling too. I'm going to do some more Southeast Asia, probably a couple more graffiti festivals. I'm going to do hopefully a little bit of Europe, catch up with some people, paint some stuff over there. I'm going to try to do a few more canvases, but we'll see.
Nice. So if anybody wants to see what Gus is up to and where he's at, you should.
You can check me out. That's most likely my Instagram at instagus.com. That's 2.com. No, instagus with 2 S's on the end. Or to go through a bit more depth on some of the pieces. It's not always fully up to date, but my website is guseagleton.com.
Awesome. And those are in the show notes if anybody wants to quickly access them and bookmark them.
Please do.
Yeah, sick. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Gus. You're a ledge.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. It's been great.
This episode was recorded on Yuggera and Turrbal land. Sovereignty was never ceded. The episode was produced by myself, Madeline Butini. And if you would like to support 1-800-MADBUTT, you can head to my website, madbutt.com.au, or you can also go to our Instagram and follow us there. Of course, we appreciate any reviews, so please leave us one if you love it. And yeah, hope to see you again. Thank you.
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again.